You're listening to One Bright Star's Life After Loss, a podcast that's focused on the lifelong journey of life after loss, with your hosts Erica Fisher and Alicia Moore. One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast is sponsored by the law firm of Burkholz and Associates. And now, One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast.
Hello and welcome to One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast. I'm Erica Fisher, Executive Director with One Bright Star.
And Alicia Moore, Board Member on One Bright Star.
Today we have a friend with us that I met years ago, and I've just gotten to talk to her the past couple of years. So I just want to say hello, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So we got to talking about grief and teen grief and how it affected you and how the loss of your classmates affected you. And that happened during, what year was that?
2020.
So COVID year.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part for me, or what made it stick the most, is I was on a family vacation. Mm-hmm. I came home from vacation, went to school on Monday night for a choir concert. Tuesday morning came and found out that one of my classmates had passed away in his sleep, and then that Sunday, there was his funeral, visitation, and COVID. Like, it just boom, 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 boom. So,
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you
That's
didn't really
tough.
You didn't really get a chance to grieve with your friends?
No.
Or your classmates?
No.
Or your, teachers or anything?
Nobody, yeah. And the worst part about it is I was going through a little bit of personal stuff myself, so I really didn't have a huge friend group support network, because I was kind of pushing people away for negative things that have happened in my life.
Right.
And it's just like, boom, cherry on top.
Well,
now you gotta shut it down.
Well, and high school is already so hard. I mean, I have high schoolers now, and just thinking back of when I was in high school, and I had some of the greatest times in my life in high school, but it was also some of the hardest times. So my heart aches for the kids who had to deal with, high school and COVID, like the cherry on top, like you said.
Well, and the worst part about it is there's so much more depth in young ages now. Like, you see drug overdoses, alcohol-induced suicides. Like, there's just so many things that you didn't have to deal with when I was freshman, sophomore in high school, but just like COVID, that junior year, like just the mental health stigma, everything. There's so much that just compiles, and it just hurts,
it's overwhelming.
It is.
Yeah, like that's a lot for anybody, especially a young person, to deal with. And what did you do during that time? Like, what outlets did you have? Or I know your mom is an amazing person, so I know, and you have a great family. So
it was really hard. Like, I'm not going to say I struggled myself. I didn't want to be around for a while. So, like, I understand the mental health stigma, the suicide awareness, all these different things. But just, like...
it's real.
It is. It's very real. And I feel like a lot of people think that they're better off to be gone than to work through their issues. And that was one of the biggest things for me, that I was a constant battle with myself, is fighting I don't want to be here, but I know I need to be here. Like, I had losing him hurt, and I saw the way that it affected all of the friends and all of the people. And it's like, he didn't take his own life. He got his life taken from him, or like that way to say it. But it's just one of those things that it's like, look at the impact that he left on everybody. What's the impact I would leave? Like, I just kept looking at myself like that, and lots of tears, lots of shutting down. I feel like I just was very alone, and I forced myself to grow up and act more mature than what I probably was, because I didn't know how to deal with it. It was the first death that I had experienced.
Yes.
So
yes. Well, it sounds like you were really brave, because the tragedy of losing him gave you the strength to push through. You used that. And sometimes people talk about, out of something horrible, something good will come.
Right.
You are very mature.
Yes. I mean,
to be able to do that and look back now too.
Right. Well, and like I said, I don't want this to be all about me, but I have had a lot of personal issues with like an older sibling and different things that it's really affected me. Like, I know in the long run that I have a lot of issues with different things. And I feel like when you physically lose somebody to death, it opens up your eyes to you can lose and you can grieve a person even though they're still alive.
Absolutely.
Like it's happened with friendships,
yes.
it's happened in relationships, like it's happened on so many different levels. But like that physical be all say all of death, it just, you can't go back. You can't try and rebuild that and refix that.
It's final.
It's very final.
Exactly.
Yes. That's a really good perspective when you talk about relationships and things like that.
Yeah,
and
because
so
like Andy, that's who it was for everybody. I have no problem saying that. But like Andy, myself, and 2 other people, we were really, really close freshman year. We had all of the same classes together. We got like paired up in group projects and stuff. Like we never hung outside of school besides Lancers. I did Lancers with him. And so besides Lancers, that was the only time we hung outside of school. But like all of these other people, we were in school friends. Like, yeah, social media and whatnot. But other than that, we just didn't really hang out outside of school.
But that's a lot. That's
exactly
8 hours of your day,
exactly,
and then some that you're spending with these people. You know, I mean, I think about that at work. I spend more time with the people I work with than I do at my family sometimes.
Right, 100%.
You know, so I mean that's a lot. Those people are impactful on your life.
Right. And then going into sophomore year and kind of redefining yourself and new friend groups and having classes with upperclassmen and younger kids and all this stuff. And so it was like we didn't really talk. Like we'd see each other, like we had band and whatever, and see each other in passing times. But the 4 of us we weren't close anymore. And then it was kind of funny because junior year, 3 out of the 4 of us all ended up being in the same history class, and we all ended up sitting together.
Okay.
And the way that our teacher did it, whoever you sat by was 95% of the time who your group projects were with. So it was kind of just like that deja vu, bringing back that like friendship, talking about stupid stuff that happened freshman year, and just like I definitely had a crush on one of the other guys. So like Andy would always make fun of me for that.
Aww.
And so like just like after he passed, I went back and like reread old messages and like pictures and just stupid stuff and just reliving like that part of your life where it was simple.
Those memories, yeah.
But like me and the other person, we definitely had just like an unspoken grieving. Like that Tuesday, because Miss Blazing went around to all of the classes and just kind of talked with the social worker to everybody that had a class with him. And of course, he sat right between us. So it was myself, Andy, and this other kid. And it was just, we looked at his chair, we let them talk, and then we just walked out. I was like, can't be in here. And like one of my closest friends at the time, her and Andy were kind of in a relationship. And so just trying to help her through all of that, because like you're young, you say you love someone, you don't know what it really means, but like you can't grow on it when they're gone. And so just like trying to help her through that and everything, like there was just so much that I was like, I have to be the big person in this situation. And I feel like that's really, like, grief is so much harder for me now than it was because of the situations that I made it.
There's so many different layers to it. And you had that, like you said, you had that unspoken agreement, this tacit agreement with that other classmate. And you just looked at each other and you knew what the 3 or 4 of you had over the few years. And yeah, there's just something about that. But you couldn't even focus on that because you were trying to help your other friend and that stuff. And it makes it so hard.
Yeah. Well, and like, I don't know. I've learned that I'm really weird with death, and like, I think it's important to talk about it, but at the same time, everybody processes on their own. Like, since we lost Andy, I've lost like a couple like great aunts and uncles and different things. And then like over this summer, this year, I lost my grandpa, and it was really hard. It changes my perspective a lot. And like, I know my graduating class, like we lost 2, if not 3 classmates due to health issues, primarily like heart issues. And then like I know there's a lot of people years above or years below us that have either lost people or have had significant issues with people due to drugs and alcohol, and just like the huge turn of people that don't know how to process grief turn to that stuff and the way that affects. And it's like, yes, it may help you for the time being, but you're going to end up losing more people in the long run, because there's so much craziness with fentanyl and with all of these.
Scary.
Like, it's one of my like close friends from going to like school, college, and all that stuff. her roommate passed away last year due to a fentanyl-laced Adderall. Like, it's just so dangerous. Like, you can't trust anything, but you still want to put it in your body to get the high. Like, it's just something that...
Yeah, it's
hard.
It's really hard.
Trying to...
Yes.
Because grief is so big.
Exactly.
And overwhelming and consuming that people often turn to things to numb. That's why we have grief groups and support groups and, their churches. There's so many avenues out there that people want to help you. One Bright Star is willing to help you. There's so many people. So, just know that, out there if that...
Right.
Yeah.
You actually, you mentioned way early on that you felt alone. Mm-hmm. And that's what so many people will say in their grief journey. And every grief journey is so different, like you said. And to be able to process it, but by you talking, and especially because you experienced grief as a teenager, there are so many people that don't experience grief until they are older in life, and it's still hard then.
Right.
It's hard for everyone, no matter what stage.
Yeah.
But when you have a very close loss like that, the more we talk about it, there's going to be people that are going to listen to this and they're going to say, there is somebody else out there. I am not alone.
Right.
And it gives them more hope to be able to reach out and talk. And so it's so interesting to hear you have some just great insight on grief already. And the fact that you're even able to step back and say, you had that tragic loss, you've learned from it, but it also doesn't mean grief is easy.
Right.
It is very hard, and you go through your grandpa. That's a different level of a loss, but yet sometimes it still brings up what you first experienced when you lost your really, your good friend. And like you said, it sounds like he was one of those friends where you had him in freshman year and you guys just had a lot of fun together, and you're growing up, you're teenagers, you kind of spread your wings a little bit in 10th grade, and then junior year, it was meant to be. You guys all ended up back there, and that's really impactful.
I think that's just the hardest part about it too, is like Andy Windinger and Faith Larson were the two that my class lost, and they were definitely the hardest because everybody knew who they were. Andy, he was involved in Lancers, he was involved in football, he was part of he did all of the stuff with his truck. Like, he was just so involved. Like, he was something that everybody knew. Like, it didn't just affect our graduating class. It affected the community. It affected the community. It affected the entire school. Like, it was one of those losses that just, it shook everything up. And then on top of going into COVID. And then, Faith, on the other hand, everybody, she was in choir, she was in basketball. Like, she was just that person. Like, she was a partier. She just loved to be around people. Like, she was such a positive energy that it's so hard.
I miss Faith.
Right. Yeah. It's so hard to sit down and take these two people that were so loved by so many people for so many different reasons and be like, why them?
Right.
And I think that's
good question.
The biggest reason why I was kind of just told
struggling
and just told myself, you know what? I don't care if there's people that don't agree. It's my story.
It is your story.
It's how I processed
your
something
journey
that was so big. I used to be that person that was super bubbly, super involved in everything. And I definitely knocked myself down a couple notches after losing people like that, because I know I have a big personality and I know I have strong opinions, and I feel like certain people get turned off by that, because if you're not the goofball about it and you're a little bit on the more serious side, that's when people are ooh, I don't like that, or butt heads. And I've started looking at my life and looking at the people I've lost, and I'm like, you know what? I would rather base someone off their personality, common interests, agree to disagree, not let the harsh things affect the friendships and the relationships, because life is short. You don't know how long you're going to have somebody, the impact that they will or won't have. One of my managers at my job, her daughter passed away in a car accident in August last year, and I never met her daughter. But what I've heard from her, the pictures, the videos, just how she talks about her, I feel like I would have loved her daughter and I would have gotten along with her really well. And no matter what I do, I try to get her talking about her. I try to keep her talking about her.
Yes.
We've had a lot of really good, really deep conversations, and it makes my heart happy to know that it's hard for her, but I'm also helping her.
You are helping her.
And I don't know.
It's helping you too?
It is. It is. It really is, because I didn't have people to talk to. Like, yes, I had my parents and I had like the friends that I had at the time, but nobody really understood it.
That teen grief part is real. I lost 2 classmates when I was in high school.
Yep.
Aaron Gittner and Brian Tigoar, and I will forever say their names and I will forever remember them.
Right.
Because they were so impactful in my life. And when they passed, it changed me tremendously. It changed my day-to-day.
Yep.
It changed how I went to my locker. It changed the instrument I played in band.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was impactful.
Right.
And it really, it's scary because you don't know what to do.
Right.
You don't know what to do with these big feelings. You want to shut down. You want to listen to their favorite song on repeat over and over and over, and, you know, obsessively. Right. And it's scary. It's overwhelming and scary when you're a teenager. And I mean, even as an adult, it's overwhelming. So being a teenager going through that, I can relate. I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And for you to be here where you are right now, sitting here and talking about grief, you're amazing. You are definitely very mature for your age, and you should be very proud of yourself for the work that you're doing to help others get through the grief. Because your coworker, your manager, I keep on saying her daughter's name.
Yeah.
Keep on asking her daughter. When you talk, just like Erica said, it's helping you heal, and it's helping her. And together, you're making her not feel alone like you felt. And it's such a tribute to Andy and Faith.
Yeah.
You know, they were wonderful, very impactful. And you're taking part of what they did and you're helping other people.
Right.
Now, and that's beautiful. And you are very impressive, very insightful and wise.
Yes.
I've had a lot of people say it, that like COVID was one of those things that people either kind of froze in time and just kind of stuck and they're the little bit more of the immature, or it kind of forced you to grow up. And like my boyfriend, he graduated a year before, so he knew Andy really well too. And like we've had a couple conversations about it because he did all of the like trucks and the rides and all those different things. And like I just didn't necessarily, I was doing my own thing. I needed to do it my own way. And so just like between him and I having conversations, like we've agreed that we were kind of forced to grow up because of COVID and because of the situations. And there's a lot of people that are our same age or went through certain situations, and like just look at their life versus look at where we are at in our life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody lives life at their own pace. But just I like going back, and I don't know why I just started thinking about it, but Andy passed away on my grandpa's birthday. So that's just like another level of everything. Is it's something that I will never forget. Like it will always live with me because it was my grandpa's birthday. The situations that had happened with COVID, like it's just, I remember that week and certain things about that week so vividly that no matter what I do, no matter who I talk to, no matter how long I live with it, it's always going to be like, yep, I could tell you exactly what happened this day. And like, it's just the surrealness of trauma. Is kind of the best way to put that.
And you know what, my
You're
friend?
Absolutely right.
I definitely think that you should never stop telling your story because it is a beautiful story, even though it might cause pain, it might hurt. It is a beautiful story and it is impactful. And what you're doing by sharing your story is impactful, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I'm so glad I know you. I'm so lucky. Well, with that, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right. Until next time, friends.
Thanks for listening to One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast. Life After Loss is a copyrighted production of One Bright Star. One Bright Star's Life After Loss podcast is sponsored by the law firm of Burkholz and Associates. For more information on the lifelong journey after losing a loved one, please visit our website at onebrightstar.org.